Hi guys, I'm Megan with Triforce Nutrition to talk about our December nutrition tips starting with a clean slate. Before you commit to any goals or resolutions for the upcoming year, let's address the things that maybe didn't go as planned this past year. There are likely several goals or resolutions that you attempted, or diet plans, or even nutrition challenges that left you feeling unsuccessful. You're not alone, and we know that at least 2/3 of people on diets will regain more weight than they lost. So give yourself some grace. Put those negative experiences, outcomes, and thoughts behind you and move forward with a clean slate. A practical way to do that is to clean out the refrigerator and pantry after the holiday season, where it's very likely many things have crept in that you don't normally keep around. I know that's true for us. So here are 5 tips for clean outs. Number 1 is to remove anything that's expired. There are so many products that we hang on to without realizing that they're out of date. The first step to a clean out is to check expiration labels and get rid of anything that's out of date. This also requires no thinking, which is why it's a nice place to start, because your ability to do it will lead to more motivation for the next steps. Number 2 is to check for added sugar. Sugar is added to many processed foods labeled as healthy. And the American Heart Association has a recommendation that kids, which is ages 2 to 18, and women have no more than 25 grams of added sugar per day, and men should have no more than 36 grams. You can find the added sugar content on the nutrition facts label under the bolded total carbohydrate and usually right above the protein section. So we like this granola because it has 6 grams of added sugar, and this oatmeal because it has 0 grams of added sugar. Number 3 is check the fat and sodium content. Fat and sodium are stabilizers, so companies add them to food products to make them last longer on the shelves. While we want to add healthy fats from nuts, seeds, and oils, we want to limit processed foods that have added trans fats. Many sauces, soups, and processed foods also have a lot of sodium. So we want to check the nutrition facts label for added fat and sodium to decide what to keep or not. So tahini is an example of a healthy fat from seeds. So I can see that it has 2.5 grams of saturated fat, but the only ingredient is sesame seeds. In contrast, something like a Crisco baking stick has about the same amount of saturated fat, but I can see that it's from fully hydrogenated palm oil, which we know is bad news for your heart health. So we want to use it sparingly and really only at the holidays for things like pie crust or maybe biscuits. So for sodium, you can see that 1 cup of macaroni and cheese has about 1/3 of the daily recommended amount of sodium, which is I want my whole meal to be, not just one food on my plate. So we want to use that for like a convenience backup item. Something like canned corn has about 10% of your daily sodium recommendation. So you could rinse it to reduce the sodium further, or buy one with no salt added, and it'll say that on the front. Number 4 is strategically place your whole foods. When you open the pantry, you're more likely to grab whatever's in your line of vision, which is also true in the grocery store. So what's the first thing that you see when you open your pantry or fridge? Then try to move all your whole foods to the top shelf or the refrigerator or your line of sight in the pantry. Then move your treat foods or convenience foods out of sight. Like we have our chocolate chips in this tin and our individually bagged snacks in a drawer or a basket. If you have excess, then you can donate it to a food pantry, put it in the freezer, or just toss it. Lastly, tip number 5 is to categorize or create zones. When you're planning meals or making a grocery list, zones make it easy to check for what you have and need. This will be unique to your setup, but ideas are things like a breakfast zone, a grain and pasta area, a leftovers shelf, a grab-and-go snacks drawer, or maybe a bagged veggies drawer. So as a recap, starting with a clean slate, both in your self-talk about setting goals for this upcoming year and in your food storage areas, feels really good. Our 5 tips for cleaning out your fridge and pantry are to toss expired items, check for added sugars, check for saturated fats and sodium content, and then put whole foods in easy to use and see places, and then create zones for efficiency. I hope these tips help you with getting started, and I would love to see pictures or hear how the process is going along the way. I'll post mine. Thanks, guys.